Hello class. In this video I think I'm going to show you a couple tricks to enhance the trees a little bit and actually show you a few new tools in Photoshop. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually paint on some leaves. So these trees from Photoshop aren't like the perfect trees, but we can actually enhance them a little bit for our own needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to add a new layer, and I want to put it right under the layer which is this topmost tree, which for me is this one right here on the right hand side, because I can let it be under that. I think I'm going to call this leaves. And I'm going to paint leaves on all these trees, but I think I can do it all on one layer. And we're going to mainly do this through a paintbrush. But first I need to select the right colors. And I don't think I've shown you how to use the eyedropper tool yet. So I need to click down in here to pull up my eyedropper. If you don't see it in this list, go to Edit Toolbar and drag it in. It's going to look like this. The edit dropper. And if I click down here, I want to pick on maybe one of the lighter color greens first. And you see right here the background color, it absorbed that light color green. And I'm going to just hit this little switch button so I can switch it to foreground. And I'm going to come through, maybe hit one of the darker color greens. And you can see I've got a light green and a dark green here. So you could use that for anything. If you want to just take the color, that eyedropper is a good place to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool. And under paintbrushes, you're going to go, if you were following this assignment, you just used grass. Right below grass is scattered maple leaves. So go ahead and select on that. We're not going to use clone stamp. We're going to just actually paint this tool on. And I'll just do a quick demonstration for you here. If you paint, you can see it just paints like these leaves on it, okay? Now I purposely did this. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. It was a shape of leaves, but we can still adjust the brush a little bit to make this better. So I'm going to come over to my brush settings, which is over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to scattering. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to scattering up here. I'm going to pull this up to make my leaves further apart because I don't want them so dense. I've got a lot of tree there. I can turn my count down too if I want to, however you want to get it to go. And I can change the jitter more or less, like how much randomness there is in it. The other thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to shape dynamics. And since I did set a foreground and background to the right color, I want that to, be going back and forth to some degree. So I'm going to turn that fairly high. I can probably keep my hue jitter fairly down low. I want to keep it close to the same hue. My saturation maybe up a little bit. Brightness maybe up a little bit. And purity, I think I'll keep at 0. And we can just run a quick test and see how that looks. Yeah, that's looking like better leaves, just like that there. Now, these leaves look well scaled for the background, so I don't need to change the size. I'm just going to Control Z to undo it. And I'm really going to come in on top of this tree and just paint a little bit. And don't be afraid of going out over the tree a little bit, as if they're sticking out over the tree. That's probably too much in some cases, so I'll undo and retry and make sure I don't go out too far. I might want to take my scattering down a little bit. So it doesn't go too far away as I'm painting them on. And it's going to give some more color variation and a rougher edge just to help make it look a little more real. And I can do that again on this background tree. And randomly place it, and even on this tree that came in from my modeling engine, my rendering engine was going to even make this look more realistic in line with those trees. So that's a cool tool. Now, for this tree that's really right up in front of us, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change the paintbrush size and make that a bit larger to match the big leaves as they're close to us. So you can see that the jitter is way too much there, or the scattering, I should say. So I'm going to pull the count way down so I can pull the scatter down, and I can even pull that down a bit. And you can see I can just add a couple leaves up in here. Maybe that's probably too big of leaves when I look at it. It's okay, undo, retry. I do this all the time when drawing and try different things. So I can add a couple leaves out, add a leaves here just to make the edge look a little more realistic. And that's pretty cool. Now, one other thing you can try, and this is just going to be an experiment, they don't just have to be green. And this is a trick. I'll do this on the trees, but this is a trick that can work to draw in flowers or anything like that. If I used another color, let's try white and yellow, I think is what I'm going to go for on this. Could be pink or another color like that, and I make my paintbrush smaller. if this doesn't work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a new layer and call it flowers, just in case I don't want it in the end. I'm going to change the colors this way, and I'm still going to have the color dynamics to be foreground, background jittering, but I don't want much jittering there. And I'm just going to sort of paint on these things. It can look like flower buds or other things like this. In this case, it looks sort of like highlighting or other fun things. So it's not a great effect on this tree when I look at it. I mean, just a little bit's not bad to have some variation, but I think in the end I might just delete that layer. It was just interesting to look at because I have used that for certain things. Like flowers and stuff like that. So go ahead, you can paint on leaves. That's the fun thing about Photoshop. You can paint things right in. So see if you can enhance those trees a little bit with that leaf tool.